Today, we're going to talk to you about the Glorious Revolution. I'm Sophia.
I'm Bethany.
And let's get started. So, James II is in power, and the people are afraid that his Catholic son will become the next monarch, so they bring in William of Orange and his wife Mary to rule England under a constitutional government, and they overthrow James II.
Religious conflicts go all the way back to rulers like Bloody Mary, who murdered hundreds of Protestants. And then the ruler after her was quite different, Elizabeth. She was very religiously tolerant. And then the person after her was James I, who also wasn't religiously tolerant, like people like Bloody Mary and so on.
So James I ruled England from 1603 to 1625, and he adopted the divine right of kings, which basically meant that God granted him the right to rule, and this mindset really alienated Parliament, and tension grew between James I, his subjects, and Parliament. James I also united Scotland, Ireland, and England, and without the technology like we have today, it's really hard to rule so many areas and have everyone happy and represented.
Another thing that added to this tension was problems with the Protestants of the Anglican Church. They were called Puritans, and they made up the lower house of Parliament. James I had isolated them, in addition to isolating Parliament as a whole.
So James I's son, Charles I, also adopted the divine right of kings. Now, in 1628, Parliament passed the Petition of Right. This prohibited taxation without Parliament's consent, arbitrary imprisonment, etc. Along with being a very controlling monarch, Charles I ended up revoking the Petition of Right because it set limits on royal power.
Oliver Cromwell was an independent Puritan. When war broke out between Parliament's supporters, the Roundheads, and the King's supporters, the Cavaliers, it predictably ended up with Charles I being executed and Cromwell ruling England until 1658.
So during this time, there was a split in Parliament, and it constituted of a Presbyterian majority and a minority of Cromwell's opposing army, which was composed of Cromwell's followers, and they opposed the establishment of a Presbyterian church.
In 1649, the Second English Civil War ended with Cromwell capturing Charles I for the second time. Now Cromwell established a rump parliament, and there was a lot of conflict with this because he would basically take anyone out who didn't agree with him, and that's why they called it a rump parliament. From 1649 to 1653, England entered a Commonwealth government under Cromwell.
So Cromwell died in 1658, and Charles II came in with his restoration of the monarchy. Now, Charles II's brother James was Catholic, so Charles II was able to understand Catholics. He was quite lenient towards them, and in 1672, Charles II passed the Declaration of Indulgences, which basically eliminated the laws that were put in place for the Anglican Church, and it made the government more lenient towards Catholics. Charles II dismissed Parliament in 1681, and he ended up relying on French subsidies to supply him money. And in 1685, Charles II died, and his brother James II took the English throne.
This is where the Glorious Revolution takes place. Now that James II is monarch, the nobles will invite William of Orange and his wife Mary into England to rule. They basically said that we want you to be our monarch, but only if you leave religion out of the government. The people wanted a constitutional monarchy.
So what makes this glorious revolution so glorious is that Parliament had created an army to fight James II. But when they were all ready to fight, this king, James II stepped off throne, and the throne of England was simply handed to William and Mary. This was a big change in European history because to have a non-religious constitutional monarchy was something that England wanted for a very long time. The Bill of Rights, where the government is protecting the basic rights of people, and if the government fails to do so, the people can rebel, and these reflected the ideas of John Locke.
That pretty much sums up the Glorious Revolution.
Yeah, we hope that this helped you with anything you were a little confused on, and hopefully you took something out of
Our lecture?
Yeah. All right, well, until next time, from Sophia, bye, Euro.
Bye.
Oh my god, you're whispering.
We're gonna cut it out anyway. You're like whispering as if we're gonna. Are you okay? Why were you laughing? Did I say something funny? Did I say?
I just remembered that in our first video, you stumbled on Cromwell, and I remembered the
And I did just now. I had to go Cromwell. Did you?
It was like a flashback.
I had to enunciate like really clearly. I was like Cromwell.
That's
I'm sorry. You are not professional right now. I need you to calm down.
Look at the reflection in the
Oh
window.
yeah,
It's so pretty. They look like fireflies at night.
they do.
Yeah.